Welcome back to Sunny Talks. I am Sunny. I'm going to be talking a little bit today about the political spectrum and just how I feel about how the difference between what is the right side, what people say is the right, and what people say is the left. I have maybe a different perspective on what I see as right and what I see as left than what you might see in the mainstream media or on here on YouTube. I tend to believe that the right side tends to be um, less government, more freedom, whereas the left side tends to be all government and no individual freedom. Okay. And that's very different from what you'll see normally when people talk about the right or the left. Normally, when someone talks about the right, they're talking about conservatives, they're talking about Republicans, they're talking about they'll even go as far as say as fascism, which fascism is actually not going to be on the right side. Fascism would actually be on the left side in my illustration because fascism would illustrate complete government control. Um, and Traditionally, people would also put on the left, they would put Democrats, they put liberals in the sense of like SJWs. In that sense, not libertarians. Libertarians would actually more classical libertarians would actually probably be more on the closer to conservatism, a little further past conservatism, actually on the right side. Um, and then you get on the left, you get socialism, and you get communism, and all them archetypes that are 100% government control. So I put together like a little diagram here to just help illustrate what point of view I got here. So what you'll see here is on the top portion, you'll see that I have it's we start on the right side in the red with anarchist. That is 100% no government. All 100% individual freedoms. With that, we comes, obviously it can lead to chaos, dis different disorganization, anything that comes with without having any kind of structure base. So that's what we got there at the far right with anarchists. And then on the far left, we got 100% totalitarian control, complete government. So we got Nazism, fascism, communists, and towards the middle, we got kind of a moderate, a mixture of both. That's currently where I would say we tend to be right now in America. We're not 100% government control, but we're not 100% no government. And you can also see that on the right side, would we associate no the lack of government with individual freedom. What that means is that there's no overarching system that controls how the individual is gonna interact with another individual. So it's complete 100% individual freedom on the right. And then if we go to the left side, we have totalitarianism and majority rules. This is where we have like a single person ruling, or we have a group of people ruling. Um, and just short of that, we also have um, majority rules, and majority rules that would be a complete democratic system, um, which isn't good. Even though you may have heard democratic before, democratic system, or a lot of times you see politicians that they talk about our democratic system, but we're actually not a democratic system. We're actually a republic. We're built on a system where, um, as us the people, we elect individuals to help. We put them into a position of power so they can help govern our and help to uphold our constitution. And our constitution is the foundation of our nation. It's a set of laws that we use to govern our individual lives. It this system, it differs from what you would see in like a complete fascist or communist society where you have one person dictating 100% of what you would be able to do, and then on the far right within anarchists where you have nobody telling anybody what to do, everyone's reacting to everyone else. So we're kind of there in the we're on the right, but we're kind of in between where you see moderate and you would see anarchist, kind of like in between there. Um, we also can, if you look in the bottom there, we also I see we got the left representing tyranny, and we have the right representing liberty. The further you get to the right, the more individual freedoms a person has, which means the more liberty that person has. Okay, and when we get to the left, we see that you're losing a lot of your individual freedoms, and the closer you get to the left, the more it's more of a social construct where the individual doesn't matter, but the group matters. And then when you completely go off the edge on the left, then you got 100% government control where the individual rights don't matter at all. And it's completely the government ruling everything. So, um, in this power structure is important that we realize where we are right now in this nation. This nation was built on being a republic. The people elect individuals to help uphold our constitution, our rule of law, and we're slowly moving towards the left. Even like our Republicans and conservatives, they're also moving slowly to the left. And then as we get to people who we traditionally would see on the left, the Democrats, the SJWs, socialists, they're even moving closer, faster to the left than most of the country. And that's where we get into these situations where you see on the news where these SJWs are vandalizing universities, catching them on fire. You see this uprising of protesting and not peaceful demonstrations, but very violent demonstrations that we would essentially the our constitutional right to protest was a way for us to tell our elected individuals how we feel about a situation that was happening within our country. And now it's protesting is kind of a way to restrict one's right to free speech, it seems. And so where the left is going super fast to the left, and the right is still going to the left, but just not as fast as the progressive left, or a lot of people say the regressive left is going. And so this is moving our republic into a democracy. And this is we could see this clearly with this last election. We had a lot of people who were upset with um, the fact that Trump didn't have the majority of the individual vote, and that we had to use our electoral college to figure out who is the president. They wanted it to be a 100% democratic process where whoever got the most votes was going to be the winner, and that's not what a republic is. A republic is we have uh to base our the way that we elect our people by our constitution. Our constitution states that we have individual votes, but we also have electoral college to help offset some of the we say mob rule mentality that happens with the democratic system. Our founding fathers actually did not like a complete democracy. They found that it only led to chaos, and eventually it led to an uprising of complete government control, and it led to communism, fascism, and back back. Eventually, once you have 100% government control, you have an uprising and a revolution, and then we go back to an anarchy. And from the anarchy state, we normally go back into some kind of form of limited government or a republic. So uh, the best way to keep a solid government is to prevent a complete democracy from happening, which would only lead to complete government control of our system, which we don't want. So we have to uphold the Constitution in which our country was founded on, which is why it was important that we didn't rely on 100% majority or majority rule, or AKA mob rule, and we actually used what was written in the Constitution and used that system, which our founding fathers felt was the best system for us to elect our presidents. We've done this for the past 40 something presidents. And for some reason, we found that this presidency, we needed to completely drop that system that's been working for so long off a cliff, just because some people didn't agree with the choice that was made, which is ridiculous. We can't allow a mob society to rule, because the when we allow a mob society to rule, we're no longer looking out for the individual. Now we're looking at who can persuade the most people to go to their cause. And just because the majority is saying that they want to do this doesn't necessarily mean it's the correct way of doing something. It just means that more people want that to happen. So we can't allow the mob to rule us. We have to abide by our constitution, which is our rule of law in this nation. Which is why it's very important that we understand this government power scale that I have illustrated here. Um, we can't allow the left to control how the government is going to develop in these upcoming years. I believe that these next 8 years, next 8 to 10 years, is very important going through this Trump presidency, and if he happens to get reelected or whoever becomes elected afterwards, I believe it's very important that we really focus on keeping our republic um, as concentrated on our constitution and our constitutional rights as much as possible, because I feel right now that our government is going in a direction that is leading to more government control. And what we see it with government control is the more power we give government, the more power they take away, the more freedoms they take away from us. Um, like, I think there's a saying that says, um, more power. I don't remember the exact. I actually have it written down here. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Um, And that's what you see with government. The more power you give to the government, the more power you give them to corrupt our individual way of life. And the government isn't looking to essentially better the people. The government is looking to gain more power for the government. It will use the people as a tool to get more power, but it's never going to release power to give freedom to the people, which is why it's very important that we understand the difference between total government and total freedom. We don't want total freedom where there's no government, because that leads to chaos. um, and But we also don't want complete government, because that leads to a lack of complete freedom. We have no freedom at all. We have to have uh what I like to say is the republic that we have now, where we have limited government, a very limited government, where government controls essentially our military, upholds the Constitution, and in some limited state, uh, keeps law and order essentially, and this allows for individual freedoms to shine. And I feel with this structure, if we continue to move our government to the left, that we're eventually gonna just we're gonna devolve into um, some type of total government control. It could be fascism, it could be communism, Marxist. That's with a socialist government. And we really we don't need that because if history's just shown us anything, the second we go from being a republic then into a democracy, and then into some kind of monarchy or a single individual ruling us, then the next step is going to be terror or tyranny, and then we that eventually devolves into utter chaos, and we go back to anarchy. And at them points in time in our history, we always see the very worst in humanity at them points. With fascism, we saw World War II. Communism, I don't believe there's been a single instance where communism has been extremely successful. Even in China, which is a communist country, they're moving more and more into a capitalist society, and capitalism and communism don't necessarily match. Capitalism really needs a free market to really grow into its own. Uh, but their capitalist system is kind of very young right now, so we can expect that and especially in China, they're most likely as they become more and more capitalized, they're gonna come more and more into the right, and less away from a total government control. Um, so that's just my my perspective on the government's power scale. The reason why I wanted to do this video before I talked about what it's like to be a libertarian is because I felt like having an understanding of having an understanding of the government power structure and what it means to be free versus what it means to have 100% government control is very important when we start talking about libertarianism, because I believe it goes hand in hand. Our founding fathers were libertarians. They believed in a limited government that had certain set of laws that they had to uphold, and these laws were based in our Constitution. And then uh, they believed that the individual was the most important part of our government because they were coming from a monarchy. They needed to separate themselves from a monarchy. So that what they did was they went through history, and they found what leads to what happened in what was happening in Britain and in England. What leads to a monarchy? What leads to complete government control? Um, and they found through history that a good republic is what makes the people uh, the happiest. It gives the people the most freedom, while still allowing them to have some kind of law of the land. And this law of the land is based in our Constitution. So that's my viewpoints. And on the next video, I'm going to go into an explanation of libertarianism and what I feel libertarianism is for me. Uh, this is libertarian is kind of a big topic. There's a lot of people who feel strongly about what it means to be a libertarian, and I'm just going to talk about my perspective and what I believe it is to be a libertarian. Um, Please, this is since this is the new channel, please do comment below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and because I would love to hear what your thoughts are about this probably controversial point of view here, and maybe it will help me to figure out what videos I can make in the future. I do have a new Facebook page. Sunny, it's also called Sunny Talks. I'll put the link in the description here. And I created it just for this channel, so you can go there and also comment. And we can have a discussion about this video or any future videos that I have. I appreciate you coming and watching my video. I know this has been a longer video than what I really planned to have, but I think it was very important that we have this foundation laid down on what it means to have a government. So, thank you for watching Sunny Talk.